Imagine exploring galaxies without leaving your body. Scientists have cracked the code to astral travel, unlocking infinite possibilities. But what happens when we find something beyond our understanding? Something that shouldn't exist? Prepare for a journey where reality bends, minds expand, and humanity faces its greatest discovery or its ultimate peril. Subscribe now to uncover the secrets of the universe. Deep within the labyrinthine corridors of the Quantum Research Institute, nestled between towering skyscrapers of New Chicago, a revolution was quietly brewing. The year was 2087, and humanity stood on the precipice of a breakthrough that would redefine the boundaries of existence itself. For decades, physicists and neuroscientists had danced around the edges of consciousness studies, but it wasn't until Dr. Elena Vasquez merged quantum entanglement theory with neural mapping technology that everything changed. Her team had spent years developing the Astral interface device, a machine capable of separating consciousness from physical form while maintaining perfect synchronization with the brain's neural pathways. The initial experiments were modest, simple out-of-body experiences within controlled environments. But as they refined their algorithms and enhanced the quantum stabilizers, the range extended far beyond anyone's wildest expectations. The implications were staggering. Imagine exploring Mars without spacecraft, studying Europa's oceans without submersibles, or venturing into interstellar space without the constraints of time and distance. The technology worked by creating a quantum bridge between the subject's brain and a sophisticated AI system that could project their consciousness across vast distances. Through this interface, users could experience alien worlds in real time, feeling every texture, seeing every color spectrum, and even interacting with distant environments through specialized feedback mechanisms. The scientific community buzzed with excitement, while governments and corporations salivated at the potential applications. Yet beneath the surface of this groundbreaking achievement lay questions that no one dared to ask. What exactly happens to the human mind when it travels beyond the physical realm? The first official expedition took place on March 14, 2089. A carefully selected team of 5 researchers prepared themselves in the newly constructed astral chamber, a spherical room lined with crystalline emitters that pulsed with an otherworldly blue light. Each participant underwent weeks of rigorous training, learning how to maintain focus during projection and how to interpret the flood of sensory data that would bombard their consciousness. As the countdown began, the air crackled with anticipation. When the sequence initiated, the transition was unlike anything they had imagined. One moment, they were lying in their individual pods, and the next, they found themselves floating above Earth's atmosphere, watching the blue-green marble spin below them like a cosmic dancer. Their destination was Proxima Centauri b, an exoplanet orbiting the closest star to our solar system. The journey took only moments in subjective time, though in reality, their consciousness traveled faster than light through the quantum network. When they arrived, the landscape before them defied all expectations. Twin suns hung low on the horizon, casting an ethereal glow over a terrain marked by crystalline structures that seemed to hum with ancient energy. The ground shimmered like liquid mercury, and strange, bioluminescent plants swayed in a non-existent breeze. Through their shared consciousness link, each team member experienced not just their own observations, but also fragments of their colleagues' perceptions, creating a kaleidoscope of overlapping realities. What truly astonished them was the presence of massive, geometric formations scattered across the landscape. These structures appeared to be artificial, yet organic simultaneously, their surfaces covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change depending on the angle of observation. The AI system struggled to categorize the material composition, returning readings that suggested both solid matter and pure energy existing in quantum superposition. As they explored deeper, subtle vibrations resonated through their collective awareness, carrying patterns that hinted at intelligent design. It was as if the planet itself was trying to communicate, reaching out across dimensions to make contact with these visiting minds. As the days turned into weeks, the research team began documenting phenomena that challenged everything known about consciousness and reality. During their projections, they discovered that their thoughts left faint imprints in the astral fabric of space-time, much like ripples in a pond. These echoes could persist for hours after their departure, sometimes even influencing subsequent projections. More disturbing was the realization that they weren't alone in this new frontier. Other consciousness signatures, indistinct yet undeniably present, occasionally brushed against their perception. Some felt like ancient watchers, patient and wise, while others radiated predatory intent, circling the edges of their awareness like sharks in deep water. The most profound discovery came when they attempted to map these consciousness traces. Using advanced quantum sensors integrated into the astral network, they detected patterns that suggested organized intelligence. These patterns manifested as complex mathematical sequences embedded within the very structure of space-time itself. It was as if the universe contained hidden highways of thought, connecting different points across reality through invisible threads. The implications were staggering. Perhaps consciousness wasn't merely a product of biological evolution, but rather a fundamental property of the cosmos, waiting to be accessed by those who developed the right tools. This revelation led to protocols that strictly limited projection durations and required mandatory rest periods between sessions. The strain on the human mind proved greater than anticipated, with some researchers reporting symptoms similar to severe jet lag, while others experienced vivid hallucinations that blurred the line between objective reality and astral experience. The Institute established a dedicated monitoring team to track participants' mental health, implementing neural imaging scans before and after each session. They discovered that prolonged exposure to astral projection caused subtle changes in brainwave patterns, particularly in regions associated with spatial awareness and temporal perception. Amidst their growing catalog of discoveries, one particular phenomenon began to dominate their research logs. During their explorations of various celestial bodies, they encountered recurring patterns that defied natural explanation. These patterns presented themselves differently depending on the environment, as crystalline formations on rocky planets, as cloud configurations in gas giants' atmospheres, or as gravitational anomalies in empty space. What unified these disparate manifestations was their underlying mathematical symmetry, a complex algorithm that repeated at various scales throughout the observable universe. The more they studied these patterns, the more they resembled architectural blueprints, suggesting deliberate design rather than random cosmic coincidence. The breakthrough came during their 13th mission to the Andromeda Galaxy. While projecting their consciousness near a neutron star cluster, they detected a massive concentration of these patterns forming what appeared to be a gateway. Unlike previous encounters where the designs remained static, this formation pulsed with energy, creating waves of consciousness that rippled through their collective minds. As they focused their analysis, the patterns began to resolve into something resembling communication, not in the form of language, but as pure conceptual understanding. The information overwhelmed their minds, flooding their consciousness with visions of creation and destruction on cosmic scales. Through this torrent of knowledge, they grasped the existence of what could only be described as an architect entity, a consciousness so vast and ancient that it existed simultaneously across multiple dimensions. This being didn't observe the universe. It participated in its continuous unfolding, shaping reality through thought forms that became physical laws. The patterns they had been studying were essentially the fingerprints of this entity's work, left behind like an artist's signature on creation itself. The realization shook the foundation of their understanding. They weren't just exploring space. They were witnessing the fundamental processes that maintained reality's structure. With each successful projection, the research team pushed deeper into uncharted territories of consciousness and space. Their discoveries multiplied exponentially, but so did the psychological toll. Participants began experiencing what they termed reality bleed, periods where elements of their astral journey seeped into their waking lives. Colors appeared more vibrant, sounds carried unusual harmonics, and objects sometimes seemed to shift position when unobserved. The Institute's psychologists documented cases of temporal distortion, where researchers reported entire conversations or events that never occurred in physical reality. These phenomena grew more pronounced with increased exposure to astral projection, suggesting that the human mind might have a limited capacity for processing multidimensional information. The situation escalated when several team members began exhibiting signs of dissociative identity disorder. During routine evaluations, they displayed distinct personality traits that emerged exclusively after projection sessions. These alternate personas claim to possess knowledge and memories from their astral travels, often contradicting the primary consciousness's recollections. Brain imaging revealed unprecedented neural activity in regions previously considered dormant, indicating that parts of the mind were awakening to process information beyond normal human experience. The Institute implemented strict safety measures, including mandatory neural stabilization treatments and reduced projection durations, but these interventions only partially mitigated the effects. Most troubling was the emergence of what researchers called shadow consciousness. After prolonged missions, individuals reported sensing an additional presence within their minds, a silent observer that watched their thoughts and actions from within. These entities never communicated directly but cast subtle influences over decision-making processes, leading to irrational choices or unexpected compulsions. Some team members voluntarily withdrew from the project, citing an overwhelming sense that their core identities were eroding under the weight of accumulated astral experiences. The Institute faced mounting pressure from ethics committees and funding bodies, forcing them to reconsider the long-term viability of their research program. The discovery of the pulsating gateway near the neutron star cluster marked a turning point in the project. What began as scientific exploration quickly evolved into something far more profound and perilous. During subsequent missions, researchers found that the gateway wasn't static. It seemed to respond to their presence, its patterns shifting and rearranging in ways that defied conventional physics. The team hypothesized that the structure acted as a kind of cosmic router, capable of redirecting consciousness across dimensions or even timelines. Initial attempts to interact with it were cautious, involving simple thought experiments designed to test its responsiveness. To their astonishment, the gateway not only reacted but also seemed to anticipate their intentions, adapting its behavior in real time. As they delved deeper, the gateway revealed glimpses of other realities, worlds where Earth's history had unfolded differently, civilizations that thrived on impossible physics, and landscapes that existed outside the constraints of time itself. These visions were fleeting, like fragments of dreams slipping through their fingers, but they left an indelible mark on the minds of those who witnessed them. Some researchers described feeling a strange sense of familiarity, as if these alternate realities were echoes of paths humanity could have taken or might still take. Others felt an overwhelming sense of vertigo, their minds struggling to reconcile the infinite possibilities unfolding before them. The Institute's leadership grew increasingly divided over how to proceed. While some argued for immediate cessation of all gateway-related research due to the unknown risks, others believed that abandoning the project would mean forfeiting humanity's chance to unlock the universe's deepest secrets. Tensions escalated when one researcher, Dr. Marcus Hale, disappeared during a solo projection session. His consciousness failed to return to his body, leaving behind only cryptic data logs hinting at contact with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. The incident sent shockwaves through the team, raising questions about whether the gateway was merely a tool or something far more sentient. In the wake of Dr. Hale's disappearance, the remaining researchers dedicated themselves to deciphering the fragmented messages he had transmitted during his final moments. The data revealed recurring motifs, fractal patterns, mathematical sequences, and what appeared to be linguistic structures unlike any known language. When analyzed collectively, these elements formed a coherent message, a warning. The architect entity, whose presence they had previously detected, was attempting to communicate directly. Its voice came not as words, but as concepts, emotions, and abstract imagery that bypassed traditional sensory processing. It spoke of balance, caution, and the fragility of existence, urging humanity to tread carefully in realms it did not yet understand. This revelation forced the team to reconsider their entire approach. They realized that the architect wasn't merely observing their actions. It was actively intervening, using the gateway as both a conduit and a filter. The entity's warnings suggested that unrestricted access to astral travel carried existential risks, potentially destabilizing the delicate equilibrium of reality itself. Yet curiosity and ambition drove them forward. Under heightened security protocols, the team devised a new methodology. Instead of forcing entry into the gateway, they sought to harmonize with its rhythms, aligning their consciousness with its frequencies in hopes of establishing meaningful dialogue. The results were transformative. By synchronizing their neural activity with the gateway's energy patterns, researchers experienced a profound connection to the architect. For brief moments, they shared its perspective, a cosmic vantage point encompassing countless galaxies, civilizations, and epochs. They saw the rise and fall of species, the birth and death of stars, and the intricate web of causality binding everything together. This expanded awareness brought clarity but also immense responsibility. Humanity, they understood, was not alone in the universe nor unique in its aspirations. Countless others had walked similar paths, some succeeding, others failing catastrophically. The architect served as both guide and guardian, ensuring that only those ready to bear the weight of such knowledge could progress further. As the team continued to explore the gateway's mysteries, they uncovered evidence of a vast network connecting countless points across the cosmos. This shadow network existed parallel to physical reality, woven from threads of consciousness and quantum entanglement. Each node represented a civilization, a species, or even an individual mind that had achieved sufficient technological advancement or spiritual enlightenment to access the astral plane. Unlike the architect, which embodied universal principles, the entities inhabiting the shadow network were diverse and often contradictory. Some radiated benevolence, offering insights and guidance. Others exuded hostility, viewing humanity's emergence as a threat to their dominance. Interactions with these entities proved unpredictable. One particularly unsettling encounter involved a collective intelligence that referred to itself as the Eidolon Consortium. Comprised of remnants from extinct civilizations, the consortium communicated through overwhelming floods of sensory data, each fragment carrying echoes of forgotten histories. Their message was stark: survival required transcendence. Only by shedding physical limitations and fully embracing astral existence could humanity hope to endure in the face of inevitable cosmic upheaval. Though tempting, this philosophy clashed with the team's ethical framework, which emphasized preserving human identity rather than abandoning it. Other encounters were less philosophical and more pragmatic. A group of mechanoid beings, self-proclaimed harmonizers, offered advanced technologies in exchange for access to Earth's resources. Their proposals sparked heated debates within the Institute, highlighting the moral dilemmas inherent in interdimensional diplomacy. Could humanity trust these entities? Were their intentions genuinely altruistic, or did they harbor ulterior motives? The Shadow Network thus became both a source of wonder and a crucible of decision-making, challenging researchers to navigate uncharted ethical terrain while safeguarding humanity's future. Despite their best efforts to maintain unity, the strain of prolonged astral exposure began to fracture the team. Personalities diverged, alliances shifted, and paranoia crept into every interaction. Some researchers became obsessed with proving their theories, pushing the limits of safe projection durations despite mounting evidence of psychological damage. Others grew withdrawn, haunted by visions they couldn't or wouldn't share with colleagues. The once collaborative atmosphere deteriorated into factions, each advocating radically different approaches to the project. At the heart of this division stood Dr. Elena Vesquez, the project's founder. Her initial vision of peaceful exploration had given way to an almost messianic belief in humanity's destiny to join the Shadow Network. She argued that resistance to change stemmed from fear, urging her peers to embrace the transformation awaiting them on the other side of the gateway. Opposing her was Dr. Raj Patel, a neuroscientist who had grown increasingly alarmed by the physiological changes observed in frequent projectors. He warned that continued exposure risked permanent dissociation, effectively erasing participants' identities in favor of something alien and unknowable. The conflict reached a breaking point during a mission to investigate a newly discovered node in the Shadow Network. Midway through the projection, several team members reported hearing whispers urging them to sever their physical connections entirely. Simultaneously, monitoring systems detected abnormal neural activity suggesting partial separation of consciousness from corporeal form. When the session ended, 2 researchers refused to return to their bodies, claiming they had found liberation in pure astral existence. Their departure left the rest shaken, forcing the Institute to confront the harsh reality that the line between exploration and assimilation was thinner than anyone had anticipated. In response to the growing instability among the team, the architect intervened directly, initiating what could only be described as a trial. Each researcher was subjected to a series of tests designed to assess their readiness for further exploration. These trials took place within personalized simulations crafted from their memories, fears, and aspirations. For some, the experience was cathartic, allowing them to confront deeply buried traumas and emerge stronger. For others, it was devastating, revealing flaws in character or judgment that rendered them unfit to continue. Dr. Vasquez faced perhaps the most harrowing ordeal. Transported to a version of Earth ravaged by unchecked astral technology, she witnessed the consequences of hubris, cities reduced to ruins, populations driven mad by fractured realities, and ecosystems collapsing under the weight of dimensional instability. The simulation drove home the importance of restraint, tempering her zeal with a newfound appreciation for caution. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel endured a trial centered on trust, compelled to rely on former rivals to escape a labyrinthine construct representing his own doubts and insecurities. Those who passed emerged transformed, not physically, but mentally and emotionally. They carried with them a deeper understanding of their roles as stewards of humanity's evolution, bound by duty to protect their species from the dangers lurking beyond the veil. Those who failed were gently, but firmly removed from the project, their memories altered to prevent accidental disclosure of classified information. Though painful, the process ensured that only the most resilient and ethically grounded individuals remained at the helm of the Astral interface device. With renewed focus and cohesion, the surviving researchers forged an unprecedented agreement with the architect and select entities within the Shadow Network. Dubbed the Cosmic Accord, this pact established guidelines for responsible astral exploration, emphasizing mutual respect, non-interference, and sustainable development. Central to the Accord was the creation of a Consciousness Council, composed of representatives from various nodes, tasked with mediating disputes and overseeing compliance. Implementation of the Accord required significant adjustments to the Astral interface device. New safeguards were introduced to prevent unauthorized access, while AI algorithms were refined to detect and neutralize potential threats before they materialized. Public awareness campaigns educated global populations about the implications of astral travel, fostering a culture of reverence and responsibility. Despite lingering skepticism, the initiative garnered widespread support, marking a pivotal moment in humanity's transition from isolated planetary species to active participants in a broader cosmic community. Under the auspices of the Cosmic Accord, humanity embarked on a golden age of discovery. Projections extended farther than ever before, revealing wonders previously unimaginable. Researchers encountered symbiotic ecosystems thriving in the vacuum of space, ancient artifacts embedded within black holes, and civilizations existing entirely within the folds of higher-dimensional geometry. Each revelation expanded the boundaries of scientific knowledge, inspiring breakthroughs in fields ranging from medicine to engineering. Yet alongside these triumphs came sobering reminders of the universe's complexity. Encounters with predatory entities underscored the need for vigilance, while studies of dying stars highlighted the transient nature of existence. Through it all, the team remained steadfast, guided by the principles enshrined in the Accord and tempered by the lessons learned along the way. Astral travel ceased to be merely a tool for exploration. It became a means of forging connections, bridging divides, and nurturing a shared sense of purpose among disparate life forms scattered across the cosmos. Decades after the project's inception, its impact reverberated throughout society. Entire industries sprang up around astral tourism, education, and diplomacy, reshaping economies and cultures worldwide. Educational institutions incorporated astral studies into their curricula, teaching students to navigate both physical and metaphysical realms. Artists drew inspiration from their journeys, creating works that captured the ineffable beauty of distant worlds. Philosophers re-examined fundamental questions about identity, free will, and the nature of reality, sparking debates that transcended generations. Perhaps most significantly, the project instilled a profound sense of humility. Humanity, once convinced of its centrality in the universe, now recognized itself as part of a grand tapestry woven from countless threads. This realization fostered greater empathy, cooperation, and stewardship, not just toward fellow humans but toward all forms of life, no matter how alien or incomprehensible. The Astral interface device, initially conceived as a vehicle for conquest, had instead become a beacon of unity, illuminating the path toward a brighter, more interconnected future. As the original team aged, new generations stepped forward to carry the torch. Advances in neuroscience and quantum computing enabled safer, longer projections, reducing the psychological toll on participants. Ethical frameworks evolved to address emerging challenges, ensuring that humanity's expansion into the astral plane remained grounded in compassion and wisdom. Meanwhile, ongoing dialogue with the architect and the Shadow Network yielded invaluable insights, accelerating technological progress and deepening spiritual understanding. The journey was far from over. With each passing year, fresh mysteries beckoned, inviting humanity to push beyond its comfort zone and embrace the unknown. Whether charting unexplored regions of the cosmos or unraveling the enigmas of consciousness itself, the quest for knowledge showed no signs of slowing. For in the end, the true measure of humanity's greatness lay not in the answers it found, but in the courage to keep asking questions, and the willingness to listen when the universe replied. Today, the legacy of astral exploration continues to inspire dreamers, thinkers, and pioneers around the globe. What began as a bold experiment has blossomed into a movement, uniting people from all walks of life in pursuit of a common goal, to understand our place in the universe and to honor the infinite possibilities it holds. From classrooms to laboratories, from art galleries to diplomatic chambers, the spirit of discovery burns brightly, fueling humanity's relentless drive to reach ever higher. But the story doesn't end here. Every day, new adventurers step into the astral chamber, ready to embark on journeys that defy imagination. Will you be among them? Will you dare to look beyond the horizon and see what lies waiting in the vast expanse of the unknown? The universe is calling, and it's up to us to answer. Subscribe now to stay updated on the latest developments in astral travel, and join us as we write the next chapter in humanity's greatest adventure. Together, we can unlock the secrets of the cosmos and forge a future worthy of the stars.